Welcome back to our channel, World Coins History. As you knew that old is gold, but these rare states $quarter coins that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Today, we're taking a closer look at one of the most beautiful and historic pieces from the U.S. state quarter program, the Vermont quarter from the year 2001. This coin is not only a symbol of American heritage, but in certain cases, it can also be worth far more than just 25 cents. So sit back, relax, and let's uncover the secrets that make this quarter so exciting for collectors all over the world. The Vermont quarter was released in August of 2001 as part of the 50-state quarter series. Every coin in this program tells a story, and the Vermont design is truly special. On the reverse side, you'll see an image of Camel's Hump Mountain in the background, framed by maple trees with sap buckets hanging from them. It's a tribute to Vermont's natural beauty and its famous maple syrup industry, something deeply tied to the state's identity. Above it all, the coin proudly displays the words, "Freedom and Unity," Vermont's state motto, representing both independence and togetherness, a beautiful message carried on such a small piece of metal. On the obverse side, like all state quarters, you'll find the familiar portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan. But while the design may look ordinary at first, don't be fooled. Some Vermont quarters hide secrets that make them much more valuable than face value. Now, let's talk rarity. The 2001 Vermont quarter was struck at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, with hundreds of millions of examples released into circulation. Because of this, most Vermont quarters you'll find in your pocket change today are only worth their face value. However, what makes certain Vermont quarters rare and valuable is their condition and, in some cases, their errors. Collectors are always on the hunt for quarters that have never been used in circulation, called mint state or uncirculated coins. A Vermont quarter in pristine, untouched condition can be worth far more than a well-worn example, but where things get really exciting is with error coins. And the Vermont quarter is known to have some fascinating ones. One of the most famous is the double die error, where parts of the lettering or design appear double due to a mistake during the striking process. Imagine holding a Vermont quarter where "Freedom and Unity" or the maple tree details look like they're shadowed or doubled. It's a rare flaw that makes collectors' hearts race. Another error to look for is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin is not perfectly aligned during minting, causing the design to be shifted and part of the coin's blank surface left exposed. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin becomes. Then there are die cracks and cuds, which appear when the minting dies become damaged. These create raised lines or even extra blobs of metal on the coin. Far from being seen as flaws, these unique features make each error coin one of a kind. Collectors absolutely love these rare Vermont quarters because they combine the beauty of the design with the thrill of rarity. And when they show up in high grades or with unusual minting errors, they can sell for impressive amounts at auctions and in private sales. So, how much can one of these be worth? A normal Vermont quarter in circulated condition is still just 25 cents. But when you find one in uncirculated condition, the price can jump much higher. And if you're lucky enough to own one of the rare error examples, especially those with dramatic doubling or off-center strikes, you could be holding a coin worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. In fact, some high-grade Vermont quarters and rare errors have sold for over $2,000 in major auctions, and there you have it, the Vermont State Quarter from 2001, a coin that carries history, beauty, and in some cases, a surprising amount of value. So next time you're going through your change, don't just pass over those quarters. Take a closer look, because you never know when you might stumble across a hidden treasure. Top 2. We are traveling down to the southern United States to explore a quarter that is rich in history, packed with meaning, and, in some cases, worth far more than its face value. We're talking about the Louisiana State Quarter from the year 2002. This beautiful coin tells a story of heritage, music, and growth, but for collectors like us, it also carries the excitement of hidden rarities and valuable errors. So, listen carefully, because this is one coin you'll definitely want to know about. The Louisiana quarter was the 18th coin released in the legendary 50-state quarters program, which ran from 1999 to 2008. Every design in this series celebrates the uniqueness of a U.S. state, and Louisiana's design is nothing short of powerful. When you flip this coin over to its reverse side, you're greeted with a wonderful blend of imagery. At the center, there's a pelican, Louisiana's state bird, symbolizing resilience and the natural beauty of the region. To its right, you'll see an outline of the United States highlighting the Louisiana Purchase territory, one of the most important land acquisitions in American history. And of course, scattered along the coin's design are musical notes, a tribute to Louisiana's deep roots in jazz and the incredible cultural heritage of New Orleans. This single coin brings together nature, history, and music all in one. The obverse side carries the classic portrait of George Washington, but as we know, the real magic of these state quarters lies in the details and the errors that make them stand out. And the Louisiana quarter is no exception. Now let's talk about rarity. The 2002 Louisiana quarter was minted at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, with hundreds of millions struck. Because of that, most Louisiana quarters you'll see in pocket change today are very common and worth only 25 cents. However, collectors know that condition plays a huge role in value. A Louisiana quarter found in mint state condition, perfectly preserved without scratches or circulation wear, is instantly worth more than the average worn coin. And the higher the grade, the higher the demand among collectors, but where things really get interesting is with the error coins. Some Louisiana quarters left the mint with mistakes, and those are the ones that get collectors truly excited. One notable error type is the double die, where parts of the design or lettering appear doubled, especially in the musical notes or the wording on the coin. These kinds of errors are rare, and they can turn a simple quarter into something special. Another highly collectible error is the off-center strike. Imagine looking at a Louisiana quarter where the pelican and the map are shifted to one side, leaving a blank crescent of space on the coin. The more dramatic the off-center error, the more valuable the coin becomes. Then there are die cracks and cuds, those raised lines or extra blobs of metal caused by damaged minting dies, which create unique, one-of-a-kind pieces that no other collector will ever have exactly the same way. For coin lovers, these errors are treasures because they represent both history and rarity combined. Add in the beauty of the Louisiana design and you have a coin that's not just a piece of money, but a collectible that tells a story about America itself. So now comes the big question: how much are these quarters worth? A standard Louisiana quarter in average circulated condition is still just worth its face value of 25 cents. But when you find one in mint state condition, especially those graded at the top levels, they can bring in strong prices from eager collectors. And if you happen to hold one of the rare error examples, the value goes up dramatically. Some Louisiana quarters with major doubling or off-center strikes have sold at auctions for over $1,000, while pristine, high-grade examples without errors have also crossed the $200 mark in recent years. And there you have it, the 2002 Louisiana State Quarter, a coin that beautifully captures the spirit of the state and offers collectors the thrill of hidden rarity and exciting errors. Always check your change, and always keep an eye on those state quarters, because you never know when you might find one that's worth a small fortune. Top 3, we're heading to the northern plains of America, to discover a state quarter that carries incredible history, natural beauty, and in some cases, a surprising amount of value. We're talking about the North Dakota State Quarter from 2006. At first glance, it may look like an ordinary 25-cent piece, but for collectors, this coin holds secrets, rarities, and even valuable errors that can make it worth far more than you'd expect. So stay tuned, because you'll want to hear every detail about this fascinating coin. The North Dakota Quarter was released in August of 2006 as part of the U.S. Mint's 50 State Quarters program, a series that ran from 1999 to 2008 and brought millions of new people into coin collecting. North Dakota's design stands out because of its incredible depiction of nature and wildlife. On the reverse side, you'll see 2 American bison grazing on the rugged plains, with rolling hills and a sweeping landscape behind them. It's a stunning tribute to the state's heritage, where bison once roamed in massive herds, symbolizing strength and resilience. The simple beauty of this design is one of the reasons collectors love this particular coin. Of course, the obverse side carries the classic portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan, but as coin lovers know, the true magic lies in the variations, the rarities, and the errors that sometimes slip through the minting process. And with the North Dakota quarter, there are definitely some that make this coin highly collectible. Now, let's talk rarity. The 2006 North Dakota quarter was struck at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, with hundreds of millions produced overall. On the surface, that sounds like a very common coin, and indeed, most examples you'll find in circulation today are only worth face value. However, rarity begins to show itself in condition. A North Dakota quarter that has never entered circulation, kept in pristine mint state, can be worth much more to collectors. High-grade examples, especially those certified by professional grading services, are always in demand, but what really sets some of these coins apart are the errors. And yes, the North Dakota quarter is known to have some fascinating ones. One error that grabs attention is the double die, where parts of the design, like the bison's outline, the lettering, or even the horizon lines, appear doubled because of a mistake during striking. These errors can be dramatic and instantly raise a coin's value. Another exciting error type is the off-center strike. Imagine finding a North Dakota quarter where one of the bison is cut off, or the design is shifted with part of the coin left blank. The more noticeable the off-center error, the rarer and more valuable the coin becomes. Collectors also prize die cracks and cuds, which appear as raised lines or extra blobs of metal caused by worn-out dies. These flaws may seem like imperfections, but in the coin world, they make each piece unique and highly desirable. Now, here's something many collectors love about the North Dakota quarter: it has one of the most attractive designs in the entire 50-state quarters program. That alone gives it strong collector appeal, even in normal condition. Combine that with rare errors or a high-grade preservation, and you suddenly have a coin that becomes much more than just pocket change. So how much can one of these be worth? A typical circulated North Dakota quarter still trades for 25 cents. But in pristine, uncirculated condition, the value can climb much higher. And for those rare examples with dramatic mint errors, such as bold double dies or major off-center strikes, the prices have been known to reach hundreds of dollars. In fact, some top-graded examples and rare error coins have crossed into the thousands at auction, and that's the story of the 2006 North Dakota State Quarter. A coin that captures the beauty of the American plains, honors the mighty bison, and in certain cases, can turn into a small fortune for lucky collectors. Always check your change carefully, you never know when one of these hidden treasures might pass through your hands. Top 4, we're heading up to the northern edge of Minnesota to explore a quarter that not only carries incredible natural beauty but also hides surprising secrets of value. We're talking about the 2018 Voyagers National Park quarter, a piece that might just be sitting in your change, waiting to surprise you. Don't be fooled by its recent year. This coin has collectors buzzing, especially when it comes to rare errors and high-grade examples. The Voyagers quarter was released in 2018 as part of the America the Beautiful Quarters program, which honored national parks and historic sites from every state and territory. And let me tell you, this design is breathtaking. On the reverse side, you'll see a stunning image of a common loon, Minnesota's beloved state bird, gracefully floating on the water. Behind it, rocky cliffs and tall pines rise into view, capturing the rugged wilderness of Voyagers National Park. It's one of the most detailed and artistic designs of the entire series, and that alone gives it special appeal among collectors. On the obverse, we still see the familiar portrait of George Washington, but here's the thing: sometimes it's the smallest minting errors on this side that make all the difference in value. That's why collectors never stop looking closely. Now let's dive into rarity. The 2018 Voyagers quarter was struck at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints, and while millions were produced, true rarity comes down to condition and special varieties. A standard circulated Voyagers quarter is common, but one preserved in pristine mint state, free of scratches and wear, immediately stands out. Collectors always chase after the highest graded examples, and that's where the real money comes into play. But what really sets this quarter apart are the fascinating error coins. Some Voyagers quarters show doubling, where parts of the design, like the loon's feathers, the lettering, or even the trees, appear doubled because of a mistake during striking. Double die errors are dramatic, and they're highly sought after. Another exciting type is the off-center strike. Imagine finding a Voyagers quarter where the loon is shifted to the side, or part of the design is missing because the coin wasn't aligned properly when it was struck. The more dramatic the shift, the higher the value climbs. There are also die chips and cuds, where extra metal appears on the coin, sometimes on the loon or in the lettering. These small but noticeable mistakes make each coin unique, turning a common quarter into something special. And let's not forget about proof strikes from the San Francisco Mint, shiny, mirror-like pieces intended for collectors. If you have one of those in perfect condition, the demand is always strong. What's fascinating is that even though this quarter is fairly modern, it has already developed a following among collectors. The design, the errors, and the quality strikes make it a coin people love to study, search for, and preserve. So now comes the big question: what's it worth? A regular Voyagers quarter found in your change is still just worth 25 cents. But in mint state condition, the value can climb into the tens and even the hundreds of dollars. And when you get into dramatic error coins, double dies, major off-center strikes, or unique die breaks, prices can soar even higher. At auction, some of the finest high-grade and error examples of the 2018 Voyagers quarter have already sold for well over $1,000, and there you have it, the 2018 Voyagers National Park Quarter, a coin that celebrates America's wilderness, tells a story of natural beauty, and in rare cases, can deliver incredible value for collectors. Always check your change carefully, and don't underestimate even the modern coins, because hidden treasures can appear where you least expect them. Top 5, and last coin, we're taking a close look at one of the very first releases in the legendary 50-state quarters program, a coin that honors one of the most historic states in the nation, the Massachusetts quarter from the year 2000. At first glance, it may seem like just another state quarter you've seen 100 times before, but let me tell you, this coin has secrets, rarities, and even some jaw-dropping errors that make it incredibly exciting for collectors. So listen carefully, because this one is worth your full attention. The Massachusetts quarter was released in January of 2000, making it the very first state quarter of the new millennium. And what a design it has! On the reverse side, you'll see an outline of the state itself, with a bold image of the Minuteman statue at its center. This figure, standing ready with musket in hand, represents the courage and sacrifice of the colonial militia during the Revolutionary War. Above it proudly reads, "The Bay State," the nickname Massachusetts has carried for centuries. This design tells a story of independence, bravery, and history, all captured in one small piece of metal. Of course, on the obverse, we see the familiar portrait of George Washington. But as collectors know, it's not just the design that matters, it's the details, the condition, and especially the rare minting errors that can transform a quarter from common change into something truly valuable. Now, let's talk about rarity. The 2000 Massachusetts quarter was struck in huge numbers, both at the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint, with hundreds of millions entering circulation. That means most of these coins are very common, and you'll still find them floating around in pocket change today. However, rarity reveals itself when you look at condition. A Massachusetts quarter that has never been used in circulation, kept in mint state or even certified at high grades, is instantly worth far more than one that has been handled for years. Collectors are always searching for the sharpest, cleanest examples to add to their sets, but here's where it gets truly fascinating: errors. And the Massachusetts quarter has some that are legendary among collectors. One of the most famous is the "spitting horse" error, caused by a die crack that makes it look as though the horse on the coin is spitting a line of metal from its mouth. This quirky mistake has become incredibly popular, and it sends collectors hunting through rolls of Massachusetts quarters in hopes of finding one. Other errors include double die strikes, where parts of the lettering, the state outline, or even the Minuteman statue appear doubled. These are striking to look at and highly sought after. There are also off-center strikes, where the design is shifted, leaving part of the quarter blank. The more dramatic the shift, the more valuable the coin. Add in die chips and cuds, little raised blobs of metal caused by damaged minting dies, and you suddenly have a wide range of rare and collectible varieties hiding in this otherwise common coin. Collectors love the Massachusetts quarter because it blends history, symbolism, and the thrill of rarity. Whether it's a pristine uncirculated example or a quirky error coin, it's one of those pieces that keeps the hunt exciting. And when you think about the fact that this was one of the earliest state quarters released, it holds an extra layer of nostalgia for those who began collecting back when this program was brand new. So, what about value? A circulated Massachusetts quarter you find in pocket change is still worth only 25 cents. But when you get into high-grade, mint state examples, the price climbs. And if you're lucky enough to hold one of those famous error coins, especially the spitting horse variety or a dramatic off-center strike, you could be looking at a serious payday. Some Massachusetts quarters in top condition and rare errors have sold at auction for hundreds, and in certain cases, over $1,000, and that's the story of the 2000 Massachusetts State Quarter, a coin that honors America's fight for independence, carries beautiful design and symbolism, and in rare cases, can bring an impressive value for collectors. So always check your change closely, because even coins from the year 2000 can still surprise you with hidden treasures. If you enjoyed learning about this coin and want to keep discovering the stories behind America's quarters, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you never miss our next adventure. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy collecting.